Hi, and welcome to Second Rate Film School. I'm Andrew. This is my co host Jake. And this is my other co host Jake. We decided to take a nice, relaxing trip up to Vermont to stay in the world renowned Stratford Inn. And to our pleasant surprise, look who just walked in from across the street from the Minuteman Cafe. It's John Voldstad, Other Brother Daryl. Yes, welcome, welcome. It's going to be pretty exciting. I know for a lot of Newhart fans, this is pretty surprising. Who knew you could actually talk?
I can, yeah.
Yeah, that would have made the commentary a little difficult to do if you were going to stay in character the entire time.
It would be odd. I'd be doing a lot of miming. There you go.
So today we're commentating on three classic episodes of Newhart, handpicked by John himself. So stick around, we're sure to hear some stories about how this absolute classic of a TV series was created and the origins of Larry Daryl, and maybe even Other Brother Daryl. Check the timestamps out below, see when to start each episode, and sit back and enjoy. Our first episode we're looking at is Season 1, Episode two's Mrs. Newton's Body Lies A-Mould'ring in the Grave. Original air date, November 2nd, 1982. So this is actually the first appearance of Larry, Daryl, and Daryl. So you want to talk a little bit about how you were cast for this?
Yeah, absolutely. The gentleman, Eugene Blythe, the casting director, knew Tony and I from the theater, from the Music Center in Los Angeles. And because Tony and I had both done shows there, and Gene knew we could kind of just stand around and look like we were still doing something by not doing anything.
Yeah, so it's obviously this was originally supposed to just be a one-off appearance, and as you know, we'll find stuff to talk about. But you guys don't even appear till the about like last 5 minute mark in this episode. It was supposed to just be one time, and you guys really like brought down the house with it. It's
Yeah,
crazy
yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, it's like, yeah, is it like the last 5 minutes we come in?
about that because it's literally you guys show up.
Wow,
Joanna says no, let's leave them, and then the episode
that's
ends.
right. Yeah,
And we'll obviously get into it. You guys are wearing slightly different costumes and all
right,
that. They hadn't completely gotten. I mean, they got the basic. Three quiet woodsmen. Two of them didn't talk, and two of them were named Daryl.
right.
So, do you know the history behind like how they decided two of them would be named Daryl? Because that's such a funny joke, but like you would think
Yeah,
like it shouldn't work, but it does.
it came from the gentleman who created it, Barry Kemp. He said he had a dream about the Hanson brothers who were in Slapshot.
Okay.
Okay, and they were, and I think their names were something, something, and something. And so he said that's what gave him the idea to name us with the two names.
Hmm. Well, there you go. Again, it's you would think like if I were to describe this to most people, it's like, hey, the gimmick is it's these three woodsmen. Only one of them talks, and the other two, and they always introduce themselves every time they walk in the room. A lot of people would be like, I don't see how that's funny, but every time across 91 episodes, every single
Yeah,
appearance after this one, I mean, this one you guys did got pretty well received, but like later on, I mean, you guys are getting like more applause than like Bob Newhart and all of them. You guys were rock stars.
we were, yeah, we were all on equal ground, but it was fun. Yeah, it was pretty darn amazing to us as well.
Yeah. So, well, as we're going through this, obviously, a lot of people who were watching this, I know my parents, when we were rewatching the first season, they forgot that Julia Duffy and Peter Scolari weren't in the
No,
first season.
it
So
was
this was a
Jennifer Holmes who played like Stephanie's uh,
cousin, yeah, Leslie,
cousin, I think it was. Yeah.
and then Steve Campman played Kirk. So you didn't, this in this episode you don't interact with any of the other ones, but did you get to interact with Jennifer Holmes or Steve Campman at all in the across the two seasons before both of them were replaced?
In the second season, there's an episode called Ricky Nelson Up My Nose.
That's a good
I
one.
don't know if you looked that one up or not, but
Yeah.
uh, Kurt gets a nickel or something stuck up his nose and has to go to the hospital. And we go visit him in the hospital.
All right. So and that's the thing. It's I watching this. I had never seen. I'd seen clips. I'd obviously seen the famous ending, which we'll get to when we do our Q&A. But hadn't really watched a lot. So as I'm watching this from start to finish, it's I'm seeing like like they both work very well and served completely different functions than later on with Julia Duffy and Peter Scolari. So it's just interesting to see the what could have been had we
Yeah, right.
continued on this.
Yeah, and they were both excellent, what they did. And Catman came from Second City in Chicago, very good writer and comic actor.
Yeah, he later or maybe earlier, no, later on went to write or be a co-writer on Back to School, the Rodney Dangerfield movie.
Oh, okay.
It was a box office bomb, but I personally loved it. Clifford with Martin Short, where for just some reason Martin Short's decided to play like a 10-year-old boy, like it's just him like walking on his knees. It's a weird movie, and it's got Charles Grodin as his exasperated uncle,
Oh, I'll have
but
to check that out.
yeah, loved watching it growing up, and I'm like, why does this name sound familiar? Because I'd seen it in the credits a ton of times. So,
Yeah,
um, so now we're in the whole. It's setting up the plot here where they're
right,
trying to find where to put Mrs. Newton and all that. We're gonna
right,
be introducing you guys later on.
exactly.
But this is just classic Newhart. Like this is just so exaggerated and ridiculous how Bob is the straight man to all this, being like, I'm the only one who finds this odd that there's a woman buried in my basement, and this whole kooky town is just like
Right,
this is perfectly normal. You guys are like flipping coins later, who gets to dig her up and all that. It's
right.
yeah. The writing on the show was great. Now, do you have any like particular like favorite moments from the series in general that like you thought like this is just zany writing at its finest?
No, the writing was great throughout all the episodes. They had a great group of writers, and they would change up writers every few years and stuff too to keep it
Yeah,
fresh as well.
that's the thing. It's I love marathoning these old classic TV series and all that. It's like I've since quarantine for COVID began. I've watched through the first 7 seasons of Newhart. It's like they didn't really ever repeat any plot lines, as you see some other sitcoms have the same plot, repeated a couple times, and it's like somehow they're just like coming up with every week something new and wacky for you guys to do. And I think that
Yeah,
shows with how crazy the characters are. It's like what can we have Larry, Daryl, and Daryl do? It's with how crazy everyone is and how eclectic the cast is. There's just an abundance of choices that you can go in any direction.
yeah. That's why I chose the three that we were watching, being the first one, and the other two.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just, and especially with you guys, like they just came up with great, like even if like you weren't the center of the episode, like they just gave you great gags that like would make me like laugh out loud, like almost tears in my eyes. Like my two favorite jokes, and it's become a running joke with my father and I, is I'm blanking on the episode name, but it's episode with Jose Ferreira as Stephanie's
Oh
father comes
yes,
to town, and it's during like the colonial days in town, and like to keep him from leaving, him and Dick get arrested and are put like in the stocks, and the episode
right.
ends with
That's right.
yeah, Dick's still in the stocks, and he's like, guys, $5, anyone to itch my nose, and like all three of you just come over, hand him a
Right.
$5 bill, and just scratch his nose, and it's like that just exemplifies just like what's the weirdest thing we could have them do this week.
It
And
was very cool. And those stocks that they had, uh, the men were right outside the studio studio we shot in,
yeah,
right there at MTM.
yeah, and I mean that was like one of the few times we got to see the outside. It's like, oh, we're not on the sound stage right now. This is great.
Yeah, right. That's right.
It's like this is the sun outside.
Yeah.
Um,
That was also Graceland. We also did Graceland at the same location, like when we did where we went hiking, trying to find Graceland and Elvis.
yeah, that was actually going to mention that was my other favorite moment. Just like sporadically throughout the episode, you guys just keep checking in. You're going through like Queens, which is like depicted like a war zone, practically
Right,
since the
exactly.
80s. Um,
Exactly.
and then
Yeah.
depending on, I'm like, is that really like? Did they fly the three of you down there for Graceland? Because it looked like the fence. Now we know.
Yeah, they did a great job doing the fence.
And then that's just perfect. Like Tony revealed to be like doing an Elvis impersonation.
Didn't he do it?
Completely
He did a great
silent.
Elvis
Yeah.
too.
Well,
Yeah.
anyways, in the next episode we'll see he's called the Face, so it's like he pulled it off well. You definitely believe that the women would like him, especially when he's doing his Elvis.
Yeah, exactly. Now the gentleman you see playing the pastor, that is actually Bob Newhart's father-in-law.
Oh, really? Did not
Yeah,
know.
Bill Quinn, and he'd been a character actor for years and years in Hollywood, and so that's Jenny's father, Bill Quinn.
Oh, wow. And that's the thing. It's like any one of these people could have eventually been spun off into being their own side character. Like the kooky priest who's just like kind of apathetic, kind of not. He pulls off like this New Englandish priest who or
Right.
pastor who is just like, yeah, hey, are you gonna show up at church? And not, yeah, I think we already passed the joke where he's like, oh, can you donate anything? And Dick's like, oh, you got change for a 20, which I don't know like
Right.
what that would be now in $20, but a little bit more than a 20 back then.
Right. Right. Exactly.
I'll put it up on the screen below. Now I know Bob Newhart probably wouldn't be too happy if he was watching this with the captions because it keeps putting stuttering under half of his lines, and he always says stammer versus stutter is what he would describe.
Oh, I don't think he would mind that in the slightest.
No, I know that's just been a running joke.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And that. So yeah, obviously we're in this church scene now, and with Bob and Mary Fran, and then
Yeah.
obviously father-in-law. Mary Fran obviously sadly passed away not too long after the series.
Just a few years. Yeah.
Tragically very young.
Yeah.
But she was, very great. Had a lot of comedic talent. Looking through
She
IMDb,
did.
she didn't have too many other comedic roles. It seemed like, it's a
No.
true shame she didn't get to do more. So, I mean, do you have any good Mary Fran stories you'd like to share?
Just that she was really sweet lady and stuff, and always warm and personable. And at one time, they had an aerobics class, her and Julia. So I joined in on that later in, like about 6 seasons in.
Well, I'd heard that where they say on the special features that you guys like would pass by, and I then got caught up to an episode where they actually did do an aerobics do. So I'm like, oh, I wonder if
Yeah,
that
we did an
inspired it.
episode where there was an aerobics, and yeah, that was one of my favorite episodes as well.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, no, I mean the entire cast is just like pitch perfect down to like even when you get to even when you get to Chester and Jim
Chester,
and
yeah,
Harley
Bill
and
Lanatow and Tom Hill.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm blanking. Jeffrey
Jeff
Doucette is
Doucette.
is who Harley.
And Todd Sussman is Officer Shiflett.
Yeah, Shiflett.
Yeah.
Everyone's great, and that's the one question I had for you is obviously you guys were able to be in the show a lot more often when the character of Kirk left and you guys took over the Minuteman Diner.
Minuteman, yeah.
And I could see there was a possibility of if that never happened, or they just then pretended the Minuteman didn't exist, where there's a potential where you guys were like, Jim, Chester, and all them, where you didn't get to show up too often, unless the plot needed it. Now, with how popular you guys were becoming in the first and second season, was there an attempt to try and find you a way in to be, more reoccurring, no matter what, or was that just a hey, we need someone on the Minuteman. This is a happy coincidence.
We had no idea that they were going to put us in the Minutemen, and we were very happy when they did. Yeah, Kirk was looking for somebody to buy the Minuteman, so he sold it to us.
Yeah, and it was sad to see Steve go, but I mean, if it was more
exactly.
Larry Daryl, I think I'm fine.
Yeah.
And it worked perfectly because the Minuteman was run down even in like the first 2 seasons. Like that was the joke that no one ever ate there, and the joke kind of worked because of how skeevy Steve's character was, that he just didn't care.
Right.
But I mean, it really took on a whole new level of when you guys are there, and there's like the one episode where they're trying to teach you how to like run the restaurant better, and like. I think it's you have like sugar in your pocket that you're like trying to pour into like Bob's coffee.
Right.
Like they're pulling the buns out of their pants and all that, and it's just like it works perfectly. That this is you don't know how they're keeping it open, but there's at least 1 or 2 people that go in there enough to keep the lights on for them.
Right. There's another episode where we have a lot of prisoners coming through, and Kirk needed help with the restaurant at the time.
I think that's the Ricky Nelson one that he was.
I think that is the Ricky Nelson one. Yeah.
That you guys all got roped into helping.
Yeah, right. And in that was Bobby Pastorelli, who was in Murphy Brown later on.
Oh, rewatch it, keep an eye out. And that's the thing, I've noticed a lot of famous people, famous before they were famous in this series.
Yeah.
And then just like a lot of great guest stars, of course. We talked about Jose Ferreira. Ruth Gordon played Kirk's grandmother a couple times.
Yes, we got to go to jail with Ruth Gordon. That's right.
And then Johnny Carson's apparently close friends with you guys. Pays your bills and
Right.
all that.
I know. Wasn't that great? I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah.
Which I'm surprised they were able to get him because Tonight Show. Though was that after he left the Tonight Show?
No. He was actually in between. He ran over from the show and did his thing, and then I think he was done. I think he'd done both shows by then.
Okay.
The afternoon and evening show, I think.
Okay, yeah, because I was wondering if there was contention, because obviously this was CBS, so their main competitor. I was wondering.
We were getting ready to go on, and he popped up right behind us. Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, well, and I guess at that point, the NBC is like, what can we do from it's Johnny Carson? we don't get to tell him what to do now.
That's right. Yeah, right.
So
see where we at there now.
Yeah, so now we're getting to the point where again they're really trying to figure out how to get her out. Now we know we can get Mrs. Newton out.
Should we just let her? And Mary's deciding. Should we just? I think we should just let her stay.
Yeah, and it really shows like how like nice of a character Joanna's supposed to be, that she's getting like, really invested, where Dick is being practical. I just want this body out of here so I can put the furnace in.
Yeah, I just needed to put the furnace in. Yeah.
And actually, I'm talking about witchcraft. This episode has a sequel, almost. The Stratford Horror Picture Show from season 4, episode 15, and that actually focused on you. They were trying to accuse you of causing some of the ghostly occurrences when the Stratford's previous owner said, "Oh yeah, the Stratford's haunted by Mrs. Newton." So I'm like, "Oh wow, that's a deep callback now, going back to season 1."
Yeah. And I would pop up in the walls upstairs throughout the house and wandering throughout the walls. I got stuck in the house.
And again, it just goes to show it's like, you guys were the perfect characters. Because, I suppose Harley was dim-witted that he could be inadvertently doing something like that. But, like, it was a little bit of a stretch versus, of course, Larry or one of the Daryls is stuck in the walls. Of course one of them is doing something weird like that.
And the opening with the flashlights, kind of the E.T. looking flashlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I like the other Halloween special, I think Take Me to Your Loughton is the name of it, where it's a parody.
Oh, that was the one with the flashlights, I believe.
Oh yeah, that the parody of the War of the Worlds, where they all think you're Martians because you were like trying to outgo cow tipping and scare them or something.
Right.
Yeah, watching all of these in only a few months, they're all kind of blending together.
It was funny because I was watching another episode today called what was it? Where we were all meeting for the book burning. A Town Without Pity.
Yeah.
And we're meeting and Daryl come in dressed up like Julia in the red cloak for the book burning.
Yeah, again, it's one of these things where it's like it goes back and forth on the intelligence levels of like the three of you guys. That sometimes like you're the dumbest people in the world, and other times like, oh, they actually know what they're doing a little bit more than they let on.
Right.
There's moments like that where it's like hilarious, and again, it goes to the show that Dick is the only sane one in that town. I remember that episode. They're all burning it because someone used one of his how-to books to supposedly break out.
Exactly. A guy who escaped prison. Yeah.
They've all turned on their friend, and they're ready to burn it, and like see like how wow, everyone's turned on Max in season 7. So nearly a decade of living here, and I'm still the outsider.
Yeah.
But it shows again the coziness. The town all forgives him at the end. A little disconcerting how quickly they turned, but came round back again.
No, he's back. Yeah, right, exactly.
So we've now just mentioned the "We'll do anything for a buck," your original thing. I could imagine had you guys not taken over the Minuteman, that would have been a reoccurring. Like that's how they kept trying to.
It would have been it would have been. We would have been coming back fixing things, even though George was the handyman.
Yeah. Because that dropped out. There was an episode, I believe, in season 3, where that's even a point of contention. Like George doing favors around the town. Like you guys don't know. Like Larry says, I don't know how we can compete with that price of you doing it for free.
Right.
That was the last time.
I forgot that one.
Yeah, it's the last time anything for a buck is mentioned. So thankfully, you got the Minuteman, and it made more sense that you guys are across the parking lot, across the street. I said across the street. I don't know exactly where it is, but right next door to it. That you guys can pop in anytime you want.
Yeah. There's Jennifer. I actually did another episodic. I was in an episode of Chips with Jennifer Holmes.
Oh, really? You guys all just kept crossing paths. So, and we're now, presumably, Dick was just talking to Larry, and then
Yep.
here come the men, the myth,
There
the
we
legends.
go. Here we go.
You guys have slightly different costumes, but you're like 95% there. So
Yeah, had the same jacket and shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they hadn't given Larry his overcoat yet.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
He did have the quarter in his ear. I don't know if you knew about the quarter in his ear.
I've never noticed that. He had he would always have a quarter in his ear.
Yeah, for the whole 8 seasons, he'd Bill had seen an old gentleman, black gentleman who always had a quarter in his and it looked like people asked him if it was a hearing aid, but it was a quarter because in case he ever ran out of the old guy, if he ever ran out of money, at the time he'd have phone for a phone call.
And there you go. I mean, I will now never not be able to notice that.
Yeah, you look for it. People think it looks like a hearing aid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's just
I forgot which ear.
His right ear, it looks like.
Yeah, okay.
He just turned it, looks like it's in there.
Okay.
But that's pretty good. Yeah. But yeah, you can also see, Tony does not have his nearly as long hair yet, or has it slicked back a little bit more. I think you're probably closest to how you end up being for the rest of the series.
Yeah, I looked out. Yeah.
Why mess with perfection?
Yeah. I had that long hair pretty much all the way through.
Yeah, and it's
my Robert Plant look.
No. Exactly. Yeah. Oh God, now I'm just imagining.
Or actually, Harpo Marx.
Yeah.
Here we go. We're gonna go find Mrs. Newton.
Yeah. And again, that was supposed to be really one of your only moments, and it was played off, and that's the joke at the end of the episode that as soon as you guys leave, like Dick locks the door, that like you guys are slightly frightened, or they were slightly frightened of you guys, and then they're more just bemused, vaguely annoyed by you from moving forward.
And you can see that later on in the writing is so good.
Yeah, I mean, again, you can't have. It would be too mean-spirited if they're always like terrified of you, but like it makes sense for if this is a one-off, like, oh, these guys are crazy, like well, technically not Dick, Bob, in the finale, Bob Hartley said, there's these 3 woodsmen.
Oh yeah,
like it's when you describe, it's like, that could be terrifying. Like we could see like a horror movie remake of Newhart where they're being besieged by the Deliverance style guys.
We should try to intercut, make one of those scary trailers that people make of other shows.
Yeah, I mean, you got the flashlights over under your mouth's creepy music, and then just quiet echo. Hi, I'm Larry. This is my brother Daryl, my other brother Daryl.
And me coming out of the walls.
Exactly. I mean, if in any other world that would be horrifying, but again, in the world of Newhart, it's hilarious.
Exactly.
And they will always treat you guys like scolded puppy. Like, come on, Daryl, please don't come into our room anymore.
Yeah.
And then here you come again. The joke, obviously, that you're
flipping
for the first dig and all that.
Yeah, first. Just
how quirky you guys are.
And then they give us the bad news of.
And again, just goes to show, like, again, you can't say it enough how well you and Tony go from doing, having nothing to really work on, just, acting with your faces, like, just how, like, much emotion we get across here. Like, you guys are, like, crushed. This is, like, the worst day of your life that you can't dig someone up.
Exactly.
And it's a real testament, again, we'll talk about it, especially as we get into the next 2 episodes that feature you guys a little more acting range, that you guys really did a great job with it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, and especially when we go out and he says, well, we can dig up a possum.
It's great. And it's just like you're like kind of like about to walk off and like very clear that like, no, you can't take one more step forward and we won't see you run off. Because if the camera had been straight on, you would have been fine. But at that angle, you're about to disappear.
Yeah. Yeah, there he goes to lock the door. Yeah.
And again, it's just perfect. And this is the perfect, sting to if it's a one-time appearance. That just like, yep, here's the guys. They're installing it.
Yeah.
Luckily for all of us at home, and then luckily for the three of you guys, that was not the end of it.
Yeah, it was really nice. Well, and it was kind of unexpected that we would be back, but we were thought I'd heard from my manager at the time, the person I had. He said, "I think it might turn into something." So he was
Yeah.
he had the sense that something might occur again.
Yeah, because you appeared only in one more episode in the first season, and then that's when
Right,
it blew up. So,
and then two the second season as well. Yeah.
yeah. So, all right. Well, and we will be right back momentarily with the second episode. So, hold on.
Yeah.
Welcome back. We're now doing The Prodigal Daryl, Season 3, Episode 21. Original air date May 6th, 1985. So this isn't exactly the first Larry, Daryl, and Daryl centered episodes. That's arguably Miss Stephanie or Dick Gets Larry's Goat.
Yeah, right. Miss Stephanie,
season.
yeah, right.
But this is the first one where the plot is 100%, centered on the three,
Yeah.
You guys, those two. It's arguably
Like this, yeah, like you said,
Stephanie's
Miss
story
Stephanie,
yeah.
where the three bears and she's Goldilocks.
Yeah, arguably, you played a huge role in that, but this one, it's a
Yeah.
Larry Daryl story. So
It is, yeah.
So what was that like now that like we're going from like coming on a handful of times a season to we're now given our own storyline.
Oh, it was great. It was great because we'd sit around the table and they would have the first read through, and we would just do our shrugs, or we would just kind of sit there and nod. It was a lot of fun. It was great.
That gave you a lot of ample time to figure out what's the best shrug to do for this scene. And I know
Right.
I've read in interviews that you and Tony would come up with like scripts in your head, like of like, okay, if we did have lines, like what's our internal monologue here? So is that
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we did.
Start?
Because there was internal monologues going on. Yeah.
That's interesting, and
And I mean, that's how we react. Our chemistry, the three of us together too. We could we could all read each other.
yeah, I mean, you're firing on all cylinders at like all times, obviously, but I mean, especially like these episodes, like the jokes are so. I mean, again, it goes to the writing in general, but the jokes are so tight. Your reactions, like you guys are all like very deadpan. We'll get to it later in this episode, and like Larry's getting ticked off that everyone's getting like going into the spell of the consumers, and you're just like shooting the soda gun into your mouth.
I know, I love that. Yeah, and Bob playing with the little ball.
Yeah,
the electricity ball.
Yeah, and it's again, it's perfect. The only thing that would have made that better is if it was the one that produced the static electricity. Like I really would have loved Daryl to go over to touch and like just his hair stand up and you see a little bit of.
That would have been that would have been cool. Yeah,
that might have been a continuity nightmare though for that.
Yeah, right.
Between shots, so but it's great. And, yeah,
because it worked great with Bob at the end where he keeps playing with the ball there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So.
Did you like our little jingle? Poppity pop poppy, poppity pop poppy.
And it's great, and it, like Dick has the joke when he finds out that you guys won 30 grand again off to put up from 1985 to today, like what that would be. But
yes, that's right.
Substantial amount of money back then, still a substantial amount of money now, and it's just great where it's like this inane jingle, and like Dick just says who says there's no justice in this world, or like something like that. Like it's just,
right,
like,
exactly.
Again, it just plays into the audience is like Dick sees you guys as kind of like stupid woodsman, but like you have a lot more going on. Like you have your like the pulse of society at times. Now knowing
we do well. You can from Bill's lines, from the way he, from the way he scolds some people, like, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
In one of the scenes, he's talking about investing our money in this one with Bob, and how upset he is with. He says, "Wait, I can't figure it out. Wait, you mean the money gives you free money? Bank gives you free money? That doesn't make sense. I don't think I want to do business with that."
exactly. But I mean, again, it just when they need you guys to be like sharper than everyone else, it works. And when they need you guys to be dimmer somehow than the already dim people in this town, it works perfectly, and it seems natural.
Yeah, yeah,
I describe as Larry, Daryl, and Daryl as the type of people that they're kind of dumb on a lot of things, but the things they know better than anyone else in the world. So you know how to write jingles better than anyone else in the world,
yeah.
apparently. Don't know how a bank works, but know how this works.
Exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah. We keep the money under our mattresses.
Yeah. Well, that's actually a fun one of the other episodes I really like. It's not centered around you guys, but it's opens up with Dick and Joanna fighting, and she kicks him out of the bedroom. The episode is him going from trying to sleep in the living room, can't do that. Goes to George's room, can't do that. Can't go to Peter Scolari's
Yeah,
room, and he ends up with you guys, and you're all
yeah.
wearing your red like long johns, the old fashioned
Right.
hats. You have a lard fight. That's
Yeah.
punctuates him just leaving. Like I can't handle this. And
And he tells us a story,
yeah, and I
a
love you.
bedtime story.
Yeah, I love your matching hats here now.
Yeah, our chapeaus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nothing else changed. Just this. It's
yeah.
perfect. Now, one thing I've always noticed with this is that other brother Daryl, is the seems to be the simplest, sweetest one of them, and Daryl is usually the one who's given the sometimes mean spirited jokes. I haven't done a tally, he hasn't seen, but he seems to be the one that usually is giving the silent treatment to someone else. And when Larry
Yeah,
would do,
he's more
I'm
the
Larry
comic.
blank, and then other one, and then
Yeah,
etc. and all that. So how was that decided that just that he had a good stern face at
it
times
was.
that
Well, for Tony, it came from a director. It was Will McKenzie. We were doing an episode, and uh, I think it was the very first episode, uh, and Will just said, "You guys do nothing, just do nothing." So Tony took that to heart and just did nothing. Was stoic.
okay,
Was Buster Keaton,
yeah.
and I
Well,
chose Harpo Marx.
yeah, well, and it works, and it's always hilarious when it's like one Daryl is angry at the rest of the cast, and you just get Tony like just angrily or stoically just like looking at you again, not saying a word, but you can read in his face. I mean, my personal favorite is when Larry runs for mayor and they count the
Yeah,
votes and realize he realizes one of you didn't vote for him, and like Tony just kind of like looks down stoically, like yeah, I'm sorry, I'm the traitor, I'm the Benedict Daryl as it's described.
exactly.
Yeah.
And we both, yeah. And it's funny to learn that they gave me a modeling career at one point, and
That's one of the jokes where like I just like was laughing silly like when they appear. That's in the next episode, but when they're walking in
yeah,
holding like an 8x10 glossy of
yeah,
you, it's just again like you don't know what the three of you guys are doing when you're not on camera,
no.
but apparently it's very adventurous.
And what was great though from the beginning, from when we first met on doing the first show and stuff, we felt a great chemistry between the three of us,
Yeah.
and that continued through to today. We're still the best of friends.
And that's nice to hear. I mean, you hear a lot of times, people are disappointed when they find out that some of their favorite sitcom stars actually don't like each other that well. It's that they're like, no, this was just a job. So it's very. When I heard that they served as in your wedding as your best
Yeah,
friend and all, I'm like, oh, that is so nice. I like in the world of like finding that how sucky 2020 is. I'm like, oh, that's heartwarming. That makes me feel a little bit better in the apocalypse going on around us.
I'm glad. Yeah,
Despite that being like 30 years ago, but still.
yep.
Um, this is actually again, goes to show you how quirky everyone is. Like this interesting B plot of just like them trying to do a Christmas photo in May. It's just a great thing to give the rest of them to
It's
do
a great
well.
gimmick. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
very
well,
funny.
Bob helps you guys out. Apparently, you guys aren't affected by the heat as much as everyone else is. Still wearing
No,
your long coats, multiple layers.
yeah,
But and we
we
had our
seem
joke.
we seem to be insular. Yeah, we have. Yeah,
Yeah, and we had one of the first appearances of Larry saying, "Hi, I'm Larry blank, and this is my other brother Daryl." Again,
yeah,
it's always
exactly.
great when one of you doesn't show up. And again, on the surface, that should not work every single time. That should be a one-time joke is hilarious. After that, that is no longer funny, but it's somehow always funny every single
Yeah.
time one of you is missing.
See, like here, yeah, and then we start playing the song,
Yeah.
and we do a take to each other.
Again, neither of you talk in this one, but like you both, just perfectly just look at each other, knowing you're trying to smile a little bit here. You can read so much into all these reactions.
Yeah. And then Todd Sussman coming in.
Now this had to be one of his first appearances too. I know
Yeah,
season
I think
one and
it
two
was
went
his
by, but
first. It might
still.
have been his first.
Also the first time I was watching this, I didn't realize it until this most recent rewatch when I was getting prepared that that's supposed to be sweat on the front of him. That
Yeah,
knowing how hot it is, I get it disconnected from the two plots. It's like, oh, he's supposed to be sweating his ass off in this
yeah,
scene.
he is. He's like totally like.
It's a nice little detail.
So we don't have any sweat stains on us. Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
we just don't look at it.
So, but I always love the bric-a-brac you guys like had behind you, and I don't know if that was behind there from when
Isn't that cool?
Kirk owned it, but still, just the idea that you guys are trying to sell souvenirs to like whoever comes in is
Yeah.
perfect. And you see that in like these New England, small town like diners where it's like, we're selling.
Did you happen to look up the Waybury Inn? Where
Yeah,
this?
yeah, I've seen their site. For my gimmick of, not gimmick of being in the Stratford. I was
Yeah.
gonna look up a Google Street View to have that by me, but they've actually changed the outside in the past few years. They've re-sided it, so it's
They have.
almost a cedar
Yeah.
color now. So it's like, how can you do that?
Yeah, but it still basically looks, from the pictures I see, almost the same inside.
Yeah,
But it
I'd
doesn't
love
look
to
anything
go.
like
Yeah,
the Stratford
and that's the thing where it's
inside.
this show does a little bit better than other shows. I know Full House is one where people say, you look at the outside of the, those establishing shots, that does not make sense at all how the inside of this house can be shaped. And, it doesn't
Right.
look too far off. You could buy that it looks like that inside. But yeah, I've seen the pictures. I like the
Yeah.
Newhart set a little bit better. Again, it feels rustic. I mean, even though it's supposed to be like 90 degrees, you feel
Yeah, exactly.
cozy watching this.
And you've got the guests who are coming in and sweltering, and what the heck is going on here?
And I think someone did the math that there's no way this inn could stay open with when you see only one couple at a time coming in
Yeah.
to stay at the inn. I just
And
always
you
assume
figure,
between, yeah,
and they're like 7 rooms,
yeah.
so
I always assume just in between your wacky adventures, the rooms are always constantly packed.
yeah,
They say on the DVD, like Bob Newhart saying someone sent him like a in like innkeeper's trade magazine saying, do not try and run your inn like on Newhart. You will go out of business very quickly.
right, yes. How many? Yeah. But then sometimes when you'll see the dining room packed with people who are not, some of the extras were there showing like at least there was a few more people at the inn.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it just like works to have like only one couple in this, so you don't have multiple people and whatnot. It
Yeah,
works. And Michael and Stephanie have a great dynamic.
they do. Yeah,
yeah. And they didn't try and do the will they won't they like they did with Kirk and Leslie, which I think was a good thing to do. That they're like, nope, they're just going to be dating. They're just vapid, self-important people. Now I know they did a handful of episodes where they break up. Should we get married? Should we not?
right.
But they're always together throughout the series, and it's just like they're a sickeningly cute couple, and it's perfect.
Yeah. Well, it's great when they come in with the Christmas presents and.
Yeah.
But here we go. Here's Bill.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. He thinks that Tony's dancing with the first lady. They're like, nope, not him.
Nope.
Assuming they're confusing him for Ronald Reagan, which I think now in your later years he could probably pull off Reagan now. Give him a pompadour. He probably could pull it off now.
You probably could. Yeah, you're right. There you go, Chef. Let's see. It's still hot outside.
Yeah.
He's got a little limp after becoming.
Yeah. Well, that's what like really fooled me like on this is like they didn't do the sweat gimmick to anyone else. Now like George is like really the only other one who's different. He's not wearing his full flannel shirt under his overalls now. Like he's just wearing like an undershirt. So that's the only one that's
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
affecting the heat. And I know they're like drinking and they have the fans on, but like yeah, it was very odd that they decided we're gonna realistically show this man is sweating. Maybe because he's running around trying to find Daryl, he's sweating
yeah.
more. But
I don't know if you hear my dogs in the background. I'm sorry.
no worries. We always like dogs here on our show.
I like that house.
Yeah, very 80s, very modern. And
Yeah,
um, now this this was something I just realized rewatching it. This is Dave Coulier from Full House is one of
yeah,
his buddies here.
yeah. Exactly. We were talking about Full House
Yeah, so
earlier. Was it Full House he was on?
yeah, so yeah, I almost tripped up and revealed it early that he was in it, but I'm like, oh wait,
Yeah.
and they're playing. I don't know if they're supposed to be druggies, stoners, just drunk, or it's supposed to be a
I think just
commentary on yuppies.
drunk
Yeah,
Vermonters. You know, they're out for a good time. They're playing. He says, "I think let's go and spit off the roof and see what hits the ground
yeah,
fastest."
wasn't sure, but I mean, it works. They're like out of place, or even Dick to a certain extent, especially though you two, like this like the polar opposite of you two.
Oh yeah,
And I always thought it was funny that this would be the equivalent of these are his two new. Like he would be if Tony talked, he would be like, "This is my roommate John and my other roommate John." Like that. He's
yeah,
now the leader of these two guys.
yeah. Right, right.
Which I know you later on had an episode where Tony was revealed to be the oldest brother, and he tried taking over for
Right.
a while.
Yeah, that's right. We both took them out.
Yeah.
See, Tony turns out to be a pretty good dancer
Yeah,
here.
I mean, it's a great reveal, just like him, like really
It
being
is.
taken in by the '80s, me generation and all that. And it's like just for 1 minute, he's corrupted. He still loves his brothers, but
Yeah. And then and I love when where Bill pulls him down.
yeah. I mean,
What? That's great. What the heck? Just a very, very brotherly kind of thing. What are you thinking of? You know?
it's the only time I think he's not wearing his hat in the entire series. Might be wrong, but it's like, oh, this looks different.
Yeah.
It's like seeing Mickey Mouse without his gloves on or something.
Or Goofy without his big shoes.
Exactly. And again, this shows Larry's intelligence. Like, this is how champagne will lose its fizz. You know that.
You know that. Exactly, yeah. The ice isn't serving any purpose here. Why?
He was gargling soda water or
Yeah.
something.
I love the fizzy water, yeah.
Which I'm surprised we never saw, because one would assume the Minuteman might have a soda gun behind that bar, but who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, you'd think we would have a soda gun. Yeah.
But maybe that's too highfalutin for you guys. Maybe Kirk had that in there, but you took it out because it's an implement of seduction,
Yeah.
as he said.
We just give bottles of soda.
Yeah. That's where you make your money. You charge a lot more on that. You don't make the mistake of free refills at the Minuteman.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, no free refills at the Minuteman Cafe, unless you have coffee.
Exactly. Well, again, here's where we're talking about the electric ball.
Love this. Yeah.
Dick is like a child here. Like and I think it plays into he does care about the three of you guys, but like he also is slightly ambivalent about it, so he does just get easily distracted here.
Yeah, it's great. And Bill becomes his parent, Dick's parent. Yeah.
Yeah, like
and it's great because Tony chooses not to, I'm outside looking through the telescope.
Yeah. It's also great here because one little detail I liked in here is he's playing what clearly looks to be like a racing game. As you hear like the Pac-Man sound effects over it.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
like,
right.
Throw video games.
And we got the girl.
Yeah. Again, Face. He's the ladies' man out of the three of you guys, and I know they even in season 2, that was a joke when you guys all go to the I almost said swingers convention, the like date night thing that Kirk puts on to meet women that
Oh yes,
Larry
right.
says like, I don't know, we're all gonna be in trouble with Larry here, or not Larry, with Daryl here. He has all the women around him in the end. So,
He's got all the
that's a
right.
running joke on the series. Like the women love him.
Yeah, that's why he's the face. Yeah.
And this is just
it's great because he has the stone face, just like that's great.
Yeah. And this is just a nice moment. Him, Larry in his own way trying to compel Daryl to come back. And even though this isn't supposed to be the actual Christmas episode, it feels like that it works with the whole B plot. That feels like this could have worked as the Christmas episode of the show.
Right.
And just perfect at dancing.
Yeah.
And you in the background looking at something.
Yeah, just checking out the houses. Oh, I'm checking out the ski slopes. Yeah. Checking out the ski slopes.
And again, it's just funny him over there. Like he doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's just like, this is entertaining to me. All the '80s greatness you could buy for it's a real $5,000 in the end. That was a fair amount of money from that, or you got a fair amount from that money.
Yeah, rented the house, and the guests who came to the inn got to have their Christmas picture taken as well.
It's just great how like they are like we're buying into this now. We'll take part into the insanity that's around here.
Yeah,
and that was the fun part with the guests. Like there was always like someone weird like trying to sneak their pets in, or trying to steal stuff. I know there was the one episode the guy thought he was reincarnated from like the house's like original owner or something like that.
Oh yes, that's right. Yes, right.
By saying, "Oh, I grew up."
Yeah, because he wanted to buy the inn. Yeah.
And it works. Again, it's I know Bob Newhart said that he wanted this to be like in the Bob Newhart show where he had his wacky patients coming in. That this was the way to have a revolving door of wacky people, and like obviously he had the main cast, you guys, and then on the peripheral side of things, Shiflett and Chester and Jim and Harley and all that, but it's like a great way to have every week you could have someone new here who has their own weird gimmick.
Yeah, it was great because Todd here was feeling lonely because his family's out of town for the holidays.
Yeah. Again, it's perfect. It's just like everyone's just getting into this, and Dick is just like, okay, whatever, fine. Why not? Why not? Let's do our Christmas portrait. Why not? Let's wear sweaters. And he has his joke as Joanne is trying to put a sweater on. He's like, why don't you just light me on fire? But yeah, and it's great. It's a very emotional moment. You're happy to see the three brothers. Now, I don't think anyone watching this would actually think that you're now going to be a Daryl shy of the trio, but like it works. It tugs on the heartstrings. It's a not overly maudlin, but it works.
Yeah.
Just all wanting to sing Christmas songs, even though again not needed. Just gotta do the picture, but they're really going for it. Now you're really good at. Was this you really playing the comb, or did they dub that over for you?
No. Tony and I both were playing combs.
Oh, that's interesting. I
was kind of being a little sotto voce, kind of quiet on the comb. So when Tony comes in, he plays it stronger. Yeah.
It's a great thing. Like we hear two now. It must be him. And great. And again, it works like, as a Christmas special. Like it heartwarming.
Very nice. It's great with the little Christmas greeting card at the end.
Yeah.
And then Tony's look to the camera, like
the devilish grin he has.
Exactly, very devilish kind of like.
One of the few times he breaks his stoic look on his face.
Exactly. Yeah.
Always with the sweaters. As he says, you really should wear more sweaters in the end.
Yeah, right. Everybody's going to wear more sweaters. There, yeah. Sweater. You're able to look up. Yeah.
It's a perfect grin.
And then they do the little caption, Merry Christmas, Stratford Inn.
Yeah, it's great. It's a perfect way to end the episode. It's just really great, you guys having your little moment at the end, and again, it's nice. We've seen across just 2 seasons, you guys went from a 1-minute joke to now an entire episode is dedicated to you, and
yeah, right.
It's crazy to see the evolution, how quickly that came from again one joke to we need to have these guys in here a lot more to being series mainstays.
Yeah, well, and again, if Bob didn't feel like a good sense from the beginning, I like these guys. These guys work well with me and stuff. So let's keep them in here for a while.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, join us in for our final episode coming up in a few seconds. we're back for our final episode, Season 7's Episode 3, This Blood's for You. Original air date November 14th, 1988. So we just passed the anniversary for this yesterday, 28th or 38th
That's right.
anniversary.
Yes.
So
My goodness.
yeah. So while not completely Larry, Daryl, and Daryl centric, this one is heavily you though. At the end, this is your shining moment at the end. So we'll get to talk a little bit about you with that. So.
Yeah. Well, Prodigal Daryl is pretty much Tony's episode.
Yeah. Yeah, it was mostly obviously with the you guys not talking. Most episodes that were featured heavily with you guys were either a group project or Larry, and then
right.
Tony got Prodigal Daryl, and then you got this one. I'm trying to rack my brain if either of you got your individual spotlights, but I think
we were very happy with what they gave us. They gave us
And again, maybe it wouldn't have worked every time to have the the main character be silent, but when they were able to write around you guys not being able to talk. I mean, this
exactly
into it, but the final scene between you and Julia, where she's doing like all the talking, but you're doing, you're acting your heart out with your facial and body language. That's like it's I point to as like two very good performances.
Oh, it was great. Julia and I were also in a mini series called The Blue and the Gray.
Oh yeah, I noticed that on both your IMDb's.
So. Yeah.
6 Degrees of Newhart. And
yeah.
Cares about Kevin Bacon.
And there was another one where Tony becomes the oldest one. You referenced that earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. Even that's still a 3 of you guys.
Yeah.
Major story. So love that joke we just talked over of Dick thinking Peter Scolari crying was like a woman,
Yeah, who's that hysterical woman?
Yeah, it plays in well to him. Like, that's a running joke of him being very cowardly. I remember there was one episode where the two of them went to see a scary movie, and he like had to hide under the bed during the storm because he thought like I think it was like the Wizard of Oz. Like he was scared like the witch was coming to get him or something.
Oh my God, I don't remember them.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up, but. I mean, again, everyone, you guys all interact with each other, like, there's not a single bad actor in this. Like, I can't point to anyone being, like, a weak link, like, oh, the show's great, but not that person, maybe even in the first 2 seasons with Kirk and Leslie, even though they didn't, I think Leslie, like, they didn't know really what to do with her nearly as much as they did with Stephanie. Like, that was her problem was, oh, she's rich and will occasionally reference it, but that's about it. Like, she was just like the only serious worker who was actually competent at her job, like probably more competent than Dick and Joanna actually were, and that's not nearly as funny as for some reason Stephanie doing nothing still gets paid.
Right.
Like, they can't bring themselves to fire her. I always like to think she had blackmail on them, and that was just never.
Yeah, no. I think they looked at her as a daughter or something because they didn't have kids.
It was, I mean, it worked out perfectly. The age gap between the two of them and all that, even though they're not too much, and it started to make me realize that I'm becoming an adult now when I'm finding out that I'm older than like the two of them. Like, oh, growing up watching these shows, like, oh, they're really old. Like, oh, they're younger than I am. So with this episode, I've noticed watching like the whole series from beginning to end pretty much that this is probably the bitchiest Stephanie ever was in the entire series. Do you know if there was a deliberate attempt to like, we have to make her really mean-spirited in this to like make the plot work, or if that was just a happenstance? Because there could have been a version where she's just her normal, picky self, and then still has the blow up at you guys at the end or in the middle, and still works. But I think this.
No, I think every once in a while they would do that with the. When she's looking at the Vogue magazine, she's prettier. Yeah. She's prettier. She's prettier.
Yeah,
And like in the Christmas, the last one, are those presents for me? And,
yeah, and I mean that's the thing. Like that was her standard level. This, like, the entire time she's mean spirited, but it works out. And again, Julia seems like the sweetest person in real life, and she pulls it off. She like you love to like hate her like when she's like this, but you never like truly dislike her.
Yeah, and then her and Peter play off each other so well, and
it's like what,
and he's so crazy in love with her, and stuff. And then years, after a few years, and they break up for a while. How distraught he is, and he loses his job, and he becomes a clown for a while.
Yeah.
Peter does. I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, that's a great like again reoccurring theme like where it's just like now like she's it shows that she does care that she's putting up with him being in a lowly position though. I don't know
Yeah,
if being a station manager at a small TV station was much step up for her, but apparently it paid enough for him to buy a Turbo Z, so I guess the paycheck wasn't that
right.
bad. They were a little inconsistent on how much he was making. Enough to, I mean, I would love to have
Yeah,
that apartment that he has in the show.
yeah, right.
It's a shame they don't use
They
that
didn't
set
go
a
to the
lot.
apartment that often.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I like. I only think they showed it one time. Your guys' bedroom in that episode I mentioned with Dick sleeping over. You have like apparently like a back room somewhere in the Minuteman that you guys all sleep in.
Yeah, yeah. And but we lived above the Minutemen
Yeah,
because I don't know if you saw the episode where Tony and I play the grand pianos on the revolving stage.
I believe so. Yeah. So, well, yeah. Again, again, it works. Just like you're living there, you got like a room that probably was not designed to be the bedroom, but you got your all high brass like beds and everything's old fashioned in there, but it works perfectly with you
Yeah.
guys. Yeah. Now this is one of the few episodes where Mary Fran is not in. I've realized like, oh yeah, she's out of town on this one.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah.
Very,
Tom was such a great guy, always so supportive of us and everything too. Such a wonderful comic actor all around.
yeah,
Like you said, everybody
yeah,
is.
I mean, he had a lot of good spotlight episodes and that like pulled on the
Yeah, he
heartstrings.
did. Yeah,
The ones where it was a weird thing how many lost loves he did have. He had Rue McClanahan in the first season,
yeah,
or first or second season, and then had a handful of other ones, and you always like really felt for him. It's like this guy. Well, he had to be like in his late 50s, early 60s at this point, right? So like life has passed him by. He's starting to become sunset of his years, and he's a little sad at times. So it's like he's happy for the most part. Yeah, you could have seen him. It's a shame he didn't get to do too much like dramatic work.
Well, like at the book burning episode, he gets a girlfriend at the end of that one.
Yeah. Yeah, but we go back to status quo. She's not mentioned again. But he does have luck here and there. But again, it's like the family. Dick and Joanna and all of you guys were his family.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I just feel for Peter here. How many times he had probably had to do this take of. He shows how athletic he was. I know she's pretty skinny, but like how many times that he had to keep her in his arms for God knows how long, and then run up and down the stairs.
I was wondering, Julia's light. I mean, she's not a big girl, so
Couldn't be that bad. But after how many takes do you do where it's like, okay, guys, can we wrap this up?
And rehearsals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mainly think of that because it's one of my favorite movie facts for how depressing it is. But Boris Karloff screwed up his back permanently after making the first Frankenstein because he had to carry Colin Clive in the climactic scene, and they kept forcing him to do that. And he screwed up his back for the rest of his life. So, Julia's no Colin Clive, but still, that's always in the back of my head when I see people carrying someone. Like, don't hurt your back.
Don't hurt. That's right.
You wonder how many of these flowers were just bought by Michael to cheer her up, but still nice to see. She has
like all the presents that she gets. Did you bring me something?
Yeah.
I put Dick and Joanna's behind the. Right there behind those other flowers.
It's again nice. I mean, she can be bitchy and bratty, but again, she's so sweet with it. If Julia did not was not the actress that she was, this could have been a very hated character.
Oh yeah, you're right. No, right, exactly.
It's a testament to her acting that, and same thing with
absolutely
Michael being pricky, and prickly, I should say, and snobbish. That again, you like both of them. It's one of these things where it's like, would I want to be friends with these people in real life? I don't know, but in the show, they're fun to be around.
And then you've seen a bunch of producers and stuff who were like Michael was.
Yeah, well, he has his schemes that he keeps roping Dick into and all that, where the underhanded stuff. It's like, oh well, he's not he's a pretty bad person, and they do have those plots where he either contemplates cheating on Stephanie, or in the one two-parter, which I think it was, I'll put it up on screen. I'm blanking. I think it was the beginning of season 3, or no, probably 4, where he briefly breaks up with Stephanie because he gets like an assistant who is like the mirror image or the exact like his female doppelganger, but
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah,
yeah, but he realizes he needs his muffin, and that's all he
right.
wants. And again, they play off well each other, and even though it's revealed to be a dream in the end, it's good to see they lived happily ever after.
I know, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
So, and now here you guys are, bringing your weird gift that they don't say, but it's wet. That's all we know.
It's wet. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Yeah, we can assume it's a snail, a slug.
Well, like Larry says, it's like weird. It was dry when we put it in there, so
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And the perfect punchline to the joke: we'll put it with Dick and Joanna's flowers. And he realizes, wait, what?
Yeah.
Again, goes show Bob Newhart's like just perfect, like deadpan. Like he didn't even have to say anything. He was like you guys in that scene. Didn't have to say something, but you read the expression on his face. We still haven't gotten. We're about to get to the whammy here. It was your blood.
Yeah, coursing through her veins.
Yeah. Now, do you have type AB?
We're the only ones. We're the only ones in Middlebury.
Yeah. Do you really have AB blood, or do they lie about that?
No, I don't even think Julie has that. I think we probably have pretty normal blood, whatever type O.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know what my blood type is. Maybe I could donate to her. Who knows?
Yeah.
I probably should find out.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, right now, like this is just a run-of-the-mill funny joke. Like this, and another episode could just be her quietly freak out when we move on. But like this is where we now get her like getting really mean-spirited. You could see like you do a great look showing like how proud you are that you effectively saved her life.
Oh yeah.
They don't get into how like close, like would she have actually died from this, or was this a just a run-of-the-mill thing, like, okay, she would have been fine for a while, but, like, it still, like, works either way, that you're proud that you played a part in helping her, and, like, how quickly selfish she is about this, and, like, how negative she
right.
is.
Right, I feel like I've got a connection. Yeah. When the brother's like, wow, now she's part of the family.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's nice. I mean, you always show that, like, you guys had, like, very much respect, like, you guys were very chivalrous, with especially her, but even with Joanna and Leslie a little bit, a few moments you had with her in the first 2 seasons, that you're very respectful to women, and you were looking to help her out the way you could.
Yeah, when she got lost in the woods, with Miss Stephanie the 3 bears.
Yeah.
We were very respectful. Yeah.
One of my favorite moments is, it was the whole plot was, I think it might have been Miss Stephanie, I'm blanking on it, but when someone is being like really mean to her, and like Larry goes over and introduces, he's like, I'm Larry, this is my brother Daryl and Other Brother Daryl, and he's like, yeah, why do I care? It's like, oh, I figured you'd like to know your assailants. It's a great line that you're willing to beat the crap out of someone for being mildly rude to her, that you're protective like older brothers, even though they wanted to bury her at one point, but hey, very protective of her nonetheless.
And this is great with the cholesterol. Bob's eating a 4-egg omelet.
Yeah.
George is watching his cholesterol.
Mm-hmm. And again, the two of these guys, and I know they worked together on Bob Newhart briefly. He was an occasional reoccurring character. I mean, again, it goes to show all of you worked really well, but like this scene where they're just talking about breakfast is hilarious. Like you don't need wacky stuff going on. It's just him eating like a bad breakfast for you.
And like in the bedroom scene when he brings her the ice cream that he drove 46 miles and then forgot the chocolate syrup, And
again, it shows how nice George is. Like, oh, if I leave now, I'll be back before nightfall.
Yeah.
And then, here's where we mentioned, the 8x10 glass.
Here we go. There's my modeling shot.
That needs to be your IMDb photo. If it's not, like, we
change it. I should put that one up there. You're right.
It's just that's when we can go back to conventions. That should be the only thing if you go to a convention to sign something. It's like you have to get it as that photo.
That's not a bad idea.
again,
You
it's
know,
just
yeah.
classic. It's like you wonder what Daryl was doing. Oh yeah, he was a model. For what? We don't know, but he was a model
for,
somewhere.
yeah, for just yeah,
You know, was he a model for like the Minuteman Cafe like menu? We don't know, but he did
for the
something
menu, yeah,
at
for
some
yeah,
point.
for the local handyman, for the local hardware store, and the plumbing supplies.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but again, it shows you guys how eclectic you really are. That just like
Yeah,
there's just always something
like
going on
I
when you're
like
not
checking
on
out the new
screen.
cars when
Something
they come
wild
out
is
and stuff
happening
like
to you
that.
guys. Yeah. And speaking of cars, that's one of my other
Yeah,
favorite jokes you guys did when everyone's getting ready to go on vacation and
yeah,
Larry's like, "You guys, we're gonna tear tan
yeah.
on the Riviera." It's like, "You're going to France?" It's like, "No,
Going
we're
on
going on the old car in the
vacation. Yeah,
back." It's like perfect. Yeah. So and again, you know, this
yeah,
shows how hurt you were and them as well by Stephanie, and it shows like yeah, they dialed up her mean spiritedness, and it's like oh wow that you Sue she said that I'm like ooh wow the first time I'm watching like that didn't know exactly where this was gonna go, but like it's like wow this is very mean. It's like that I could see why
yeah. And the fact
Daryl was
when
affected
Tony
by
starts
that.
scratching his head,
Well,
yeah, let's
other
go to look at
Daryl.
the at the pound, figuring I might be worthy. I might have gone there.
Yeah, yeah. And again, just everything they give you guys was like pure gold. Like, there's so many moments you could always point to across the series. We've listed
Yeah,
numerous ones that are just perfect. But
it was a great 8 years.
testament to
Oh,
how great the writers were. Yeah. That's why I've been slowing down watching the last half of season 7 and season 8. I'm like, I don't know what to do now when I'm done watching it. I guess I'll start rewatching it.
she gets that little manic. I'm eating like a wild person. Yeah. Oh no, I'm Steph.
It's yeah,
Yeah.
it's really funny. It's just like the Daryl is slowly taking over. See that again? It could have been a horror movie. Like
Exactly.
she
Yeah.
gets infected. She's
Oh
becoming a
no.
Daryl zombie. Like some body horror stuff going on. Yeah, but and again, they knew when to ride the line. They amped up the bitchiness in her character, but like they're like, okay, well, we gotta bring it back down here. That it's a ridiculous, funny thing
Yeah.
she's angry about now. Of like, oh my god, I'm eating like one of them. I'm eating like an animal. That's like it. Yeah, they really knew how to ride the line to make sure you didn't hate
The
her by
lines
the
were
time
great.
the
The
episode was
lines, the writers
over.
were so good.
Yeah. Well, and I know Dick Martin
Yeah, he did
directed.
the first. Yeah,
I don't know if he
he
did the
did quite
first
a
one, but he
few.
did this
He and
one in
Will
the
McKenzie did quite a few in
Prodigal
the
Daryl.
beginning. Peter Baldwin, um, a gentleman by the
Yeah.
name of Michael Lessick, and David Steinberg did quite a few.
Yeah, they got a lot of good talent to be directing
Yeah,
behind the camera and the writers. So here you come back, this nice moment of you're getting leeches for her, like even in your simplistic, Darylness.
yeah. I want to get the blood out of her if she doesn't
Yeah,
like it. Yeah.
yeah, you're still trying to be helpful. You're not truly angry. It shows like
Oh
how
heck
nice of a
no.
person, yeah, Daryl is. I mean, all three of them, but especially you, like how like you're borderline angelic. I maybe with the like the
Yeah.
the hair you had on, you're like almost like
Yeah.
the cowardly lion. Like you're the nicest one of the group.
He does. Yeah.
Which I know in the one Halloween episode, George dresses up like the cowardly lion,
Yeah.
but maybe next Halloween 2021 you could pull it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we can go to parties, but then you'll be able to do that.
I'm glad that someone your age is watching these as well. So you can pass the mantle on to your age as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a shame because like it's not really streaming anywhere. I had to buy
Yeah.
the DVD sets, which is fine because I'm like an old man at heart. I like physical media, but I'm like, oh, this is like a shame that this isn't really out there more. For how
Yeah.
classic of a series it is.
But it looks like they're coming back now with the different streaming channels like Laugh and those things.
Yeah, and I'm sure CBS. It might be on CBS on demand or
Yeah.
whatever the hell
And you
they're
can
calling their
always go to
thing.
YouTube. Like,
Yeah, Well, obviously, the version we're watching, because my DVD fizzled out on me for this set, we had to watch this from YouTube.
Yeah,
I don't encourage people to pirate DVD sets unless you don't
right.
get a cut of them. Then yeah, go ahead and pirate it away.
Yeah,
But
but I love the way Julia and she and I work off of each other here.
yeah,
She's she's totally toned down her bitchiness, like you said, and
yeah,
she's really got a soft center.
yeah. I mean, it shows that even with how nasty she can be at times, she is a nice person. Um, and she is a nice person, and that she's speaking nicely to you. She's treating you like a person now. She wasn't early on, but like she said, she panicked. She was not used to anyone. She has the joke at the beginning, wait, I'm gonna have a scar. So it's like you could see like all of this was just tension bubbling up finally, and you were the one that got lashed out on that.
Yeah,
Again, it rides the line very well where you don't permanently hate her. This could have been if they, again, if the writers or even Julia played it differently, where you don't like her. But again, though obviously with you're doing you're acting your heart out here, sitting in this chair, doing your nods and all that. You're able to read a lot into your performance.
well,
And
yeah,
how
we're
like you're forgiving
really
her. Like, you don't
reacting.
mind.
It's great because we're reacting off of each other and stuff.
Yeah, you
I,
don't
I remember
understand.
when we shot it and stuff.
Yeah,
It was great.
you don't understand why she's like this, why it's a big deal, because it wouldn't be a big deal for you, but like you
Right.
understand that this is who she is and that you still love her like a sister, like you care
Yep.
for her, like she's your kid sister and all that.
Yeah.
And then we get the nice little moment here in a moment with her handing you like the muffin and all that. I can imagine how many takes you had to do like eating these
Not many.
muffins. Oh, you did? Okay, good.
No, no.
That's the thing I just always think when I see actors having to eat something. I'm like, oh god, how many times did John have to eat that muffin? So good to see he didn't have to eat a billion of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, it works perfectly for your character that that's all you need, her to like
So
apologize
yeah,
and then just hand you a muffin. That's how nice you are.
and you see, like she ate the muffin just like I ate the muffin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good character moment, and then this is very touching where she like wipes the crumbs off for you.
Yeah.
Again, had they handled this differently, this could have been the I don't like Stephanie going forward. Like they could have really screwed up her character for the last two seasons.
Hmm.
Don't mind the child being murdered in the background of mine. My neighbor's
Yeah.
screaming. So then, this is nice. She just gives you all the muffins,
Yep.
and you're gonna go down to the bog to eat them.
Yeah.
And maybe
She
share them
knows.
with
Yeah.
Larry and Daryl.
Yeah.
I like
Exactly. I
share.
want to share my muffins.
Yeah.
But with the bell.
Yeah. Wrap up even that little thing that they handed her. Like that
Yeah.
has a nice wrap up
Cool.
moment. And then we see
And then she starts to. Oh.
she accepts it a little bit, but then it's like, nah, I'm not gonna go that far.
Yeah.
So it's a great moment. So
Yeah.
well, and as we're wrapping
There
up,
we go.
I just want again thank you for coming on. This is great to hear from you and on all
Sure,
these
Andrew.
classic episodes. So
It was fun to do this. It was really cool.
yeah, so and we're gonna do a brief Q&A about the rest of the series, but it's been nice talking about specific these episodes. So yeah,
Maybe another time we can do another one.
yeah. So all right, well, until next time, have a good night, everyone.
Take care, everybody.
Yeah,
See ya. Thank you, Andrew.
thanks. Thank you.